A 900-page hacking book from 2011 sounds like the last thing a beginner should buy in 2026. But this one still teaches a skill many modern courses skip: how to think through a web application as a complete system. The catch is knowing which lessons aged well and which ones did not. My short verdict: it is still valuable for serious web security learners, but it is not the single best starting point for everyone. Its systematic reasoning remains excellent. Some technology, tools, and examples are dated. Pair the book with maintained, authorized labs and current standards. The Web Application Hacker's Handbook, Finding and Exploiting Security Flaws, 2nd edition, was written by. Think of the book as a detailed field guide and road atlas. It teaches landmarks, terrain, and navigation habits. But a 2011 atlas cannot show every road built since then or today's closures. Use it to understand the landscape, then use current sources for live conditions. This summary stays at a defensive, educational level. Practice only on systems you own, systems you are explicitly authorized in writing to assess, or purpose-built training labs. A book, tool, or public endpoint is never permission to test someone else's application. The book's central strength is treating a web application as a chain of trust decisions. A browser sends a request. The server identifies a user, checks state and permissions, processes input, calls databases or services, returns a response, and records evidence. Weakness can appear at any boundary. The durable lesson is methodological. First, map the application. Identify inputs, identities, roles, workflows, state, and trust boundaries. Form a hypothesis about a security assumption. Test it safely. Confirm impact with minimal evidence. Then explain the root cause and remediation clearly. The mapping chapters teach you to inventory content, functions, parameters, cookies, headers, APIs, technologies, roles, and workflow states. In 2026, add mobile clients, GraphQL, cloud services, third-party identity, background jobs, and software supply chain boundaries to that map. The book repeatedly shows why client-side controls cannot be the final security decision. A hidden field, disabled button, or JavaScript validation rule may improve user experience. The server must still validate input, authorization, state transitions, and business rules for every request. Authentication analysis covers how an application establishes identity and where that process can fail. Modern review should include enrollment, login, MFA, passwordless flows, account recovery, federation, device trust, reauthentication, automation resistance, and identity revocation, not merely password strength. Session management asks how authenticated state survives across requests. Review token generation, transport, browser storage, cookie attributes, rotation, expiry, logout, privilege changes, concurrent sessions, and revocation. The technology changes, but the question remains: can an attacker obtain or control trusted state? Access control testing is one of the book's most enduring sections. For each operation, ask which identity may perform which action on which object, inside which tenant and workflow state. Test the wrong user, role, object, tenant, sequence, and direct endpoint, not only the intended path. The book devotes substantial attention to injection and data store behavior. The lasting principle is to keep untrusted data separate from executable instructions using parameterized APIs, strict schemas, safe templates, contextual output encoding, and least privilege. Current learners must extend the model beyond classic SQL. Backend components can transform one request through several parsers and services. A value may reach a database, operating system command, XML or JSON parser, template engine, URL fetcher, file path, message queue, or third-party API. Trace the complete data flow and apply controls at each boundary. Business logic flaws happen when valid features combine into an unsafe outcome. Examples include skipping a required step, reusing a one-time action, applying a discount repeatedly, exceeding a transaction limit, or crossing a tenant boundary. Finding them requires understanding the intended invariant. The book also examines attacks delivered through an application to its users, including cross-site scripting and cross-site request behavior. Modern analysis must account for current browser protections, framework behavior, content security policy, cross-origin rules, modern token patterns, and application-specific impact. Information disclosure may expose stack traces, software versions, internal paths, identifiers, source fragments, backup files, or sensitive response fields. One clue may seem harmless. Combined clues can reveal architecture and trust boundaries. Production errors should support operators without educating an attacker. Application code runs inside a platform. Reverse proxies, web servers, frameworks, containers, cloud identity, storage policy, secrets, network controls, and deployment automation shape exposure. The The book's architecture mindset remains useful, but today's review must include infrastructure and delivery systems it could not fully anticipate. Source review can connect observed behavior to entry points, data flow, authorization checks, framework configuration, and dangerous APIs. Dynamic testing shows what the running system does. Code review helps explain why. Neither alone guarantees coverage. Together they improve evidence and remediation. The toolkit chapters teach intercepting, modifying, replaying, comparing, and organizing requests. Tools can accelerate discovery and repetition. They do not understand every business rule or prove that an application is secure. Use automation to collect signals, then apply human context and authorized judgment. The strongest way to read the book is horizontally. Authentication establishes a subject. A session carries that identity. Authorization controls the object and action. Input handling protects interpreters. Business logic protects the workflow. Logging preserves evidence. A single request can exercise all six. Consider a fictional ticketing site called Northstar Tickets. A signed-in customer opens an order. The browser requests an order record through an API. The service reads session identity, checks ownership, queries the database, returns selected fields, and logs the decision. First map normal behavior, the endpoint and method, where identity comes from, how the order is selected, which fields return, what roles exist, and where authorization occurs. Do not begin with random payloads. Begin with a model of the expected security decision. The service should derive customer identity from a validated session, not a user-controlled field. Sessions need safe transport, expiry, rotation, and revocation. A higher-risk action such as changing payment details may require fresh authentication even when viewing the order does not. The order lookup must enforce ownership on the server. A safer design scopes the query to both the requested order and the active customer, then denies by default when no authorized record exists. Hiding another customer's order link in the browser is not an authorization control. Parse the order identifier using a strict expected format and pass it through a parameterized data access API. Then enforce workflow rules. Canceled records, refunds, support access, and tenant transfers may require different policy. Safe query construction does not replace authorization or business logic. Return only fields the customer needs. Use a generic denial that does not reveal another order's existence. Record the actor, action, resource type, outcome, time, and correlation identifier without logging secrets. Alert on repeated cross-object denials when the pattern becomes meaningful. This small feature touches mapping, authentication, sessions, authorization, input handling, business logic, data minimization, errors, logging, and platform configuration. That is why the book's systems approach survives. It teaches you to connect a symptom to the trust decision that created it. Read cover to cover if you want a long, coherent foundation and can separate principles from dated implementation details. Take notes in your own words. Answer the chapter questions. Build a modern glossary beside the book. Expect weeks or months, not a weekend. Use it as a reference when planning an authorized review. Pick the relevant trust boundary, extract the questions and failure patterns, turn them into a test matrix, and verify technology-specific details against current documentation. This approach is faster but assumes you can supply modern context. PortSwigger says Dafydd Stuttard created Web Security Academy instead of publishing a third edition. The Academy is free, continuously updated, and includes interactive labs and learning paths. Read the book for systematic depth. Use the Academy for current material and safe practice. Use OWASP Web Security Testing Guide to organize authorized testing ideas. Use OWASP ASVS to define verifiable application security requirements. Use an application-specific threat model for unique assets and abuse paths. The Handbook supplies reasoning. These resources add current structure and defensive evidence. Some details aged poorly. Retired browser plugin technologies, older browser behavior, legacy interface screenshots, tool workflows that changed, and limited treatment of modern APIs, cloud-native architecture, identity protocols, supply chains, mobile clients, race conditions, and web-enabled AI systems. Do not mistake historical detail for current guidance. What remains strong is the habit of mapping the system, tracing data and identity, challenging trust assumptions, testing negative paths, understanding application-specific logic, and connecting evidence to root cause. Frameworks change. Those questions still guide effective security work. Consider buying it if you want a substantial physical reference, enjoy detailed technical reading, and plan to pair it with current labs. It fits application security learners, authorized testers, security reviewers, and developers who want to understand how features fail across an entire system. Skip or postpone it if 912 pages will stop you from starting, if you learn mainly through short guided labs, or if you need a current technology reference. Begin with a structured academy learning path and return to the book when you want deeper methodology and historical context. A practical 4-week start. Week 1, requests, responses, mapping, and trust boundaries. Week 2, authentication, sessions, and access control. Week 3, input handling, data stores, browser context, and business logic. Week 4, architecture, source review, reporting, and defensive requirements. Pair every theme with an authorized lab. Common mistakes are copying old payloads without understanding context, testing systems without permission, treating a tool result as proof, chasing every chapter equally, ignoring remediation, and assuming exploitation is the finish line. The real outcome is a reproducible finding, root cause, risk explanation, and verified fix. Before publishing, add your affiliate link and a clear disclosure near it. Confirm the linked listing is the second edition with the expected ISBN. Fact-check price, seller, format, availability, and product details on the day you schedule. This video does not claim a guaranteed price or universal best book ranking. The Web Application Hacker's Handbook remains a valuable foundational classic in 2026. Its systems thinking, trust boundary analysis, and negative testing method still matter. Its age is real. Use it with Web Security Academy, current standards, current documentation, and authorized practice. If the book's depth matches how you learn, it deserves a place on your 2026 reading list. Read for the questions it teaches you to ask. Practice only in safe, authorized environments. Then translate every lesson into clearer requirements, stronger tests, and fixes that remove the root cause. Copyright 2026 CipherVibe.